Hey everyone, it's Kristen. Today I wanted to talk about the very first comic book magazine I purchased, Wizard number 83, 1998 July. Um, I want to talk about it because just it's fun to look back on the comic book magazine and just see what was popular at the time, like compared to now. And they do like some fun things like last man standing, like who would win in a comic book battle that you wouldn't normally see, like ever get to see. They cast movies, like who they think should play the character at the time. So that's kind of interesting to see, like where their mind was at then compared to now that the movie's actually been cast. Um, the the first issue I purchased is a little embarrassing. Um, I purchased it because Rogue and Wonder Woman are on the cover. Those are two. Well, Rogue is definitely one of my favorite characters. We've talked about that. I like Wonder Woman because she's one of the big three. I mean, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. And the fact that she's a female character is really cool because she's really well known. She's very recognized all over the world. Um, Unfortunately, Marvel, well, they're getting there with the Avengers movies like Black Widow and Captain Marvel. They're getting there in terms of having a very like recognizable female character. But I mean, Wonder Woman, like almost everyone knows who that is. So I think that's part of why I like her is, and plus she's really cool. Um, when you open the cover, it shows you a couple other female characters. Um, so the reason why, I'll talk about this first. So here's that last man standing I was talking about. It's Sabretooth versus Bane. They think the Sabretooth would win because of his healing factor, which I agree. If he didn't have his healing factor, then he might not win, but since he does, he would definitely win. Um, so the reason why this is kind of embarrassing is this. This is the main article, the reason why those women were on the cover. They're calling them Spicy Girls. Wizard ranks comics top 10 sexiest women. Spicy Girls because the Spice Girls were popular at the time. Number 10, Psylocke from the X-Men. I think it's because of the combination of her being British and Japanese and very like exotic because of that fact and mysterious. And then it's Rainmaker from Gen 13. That comic has been discontinued, but she is a Native American and she has limited weather control, and like the gauntlets she wears help her like call lightning. And Mystique, well, I think they put her in there because she is very exotic looking, and plus, as they said in here, well, that's what they said, is that she can change into any other form or shape she wants, like any other female. Basically, she could be your dream girl because she could take any form you wanted, which is interesting because one of her mini forms is a supermodel. She's also like a billionaire who's a man is another form. But yeah, one of her forms is a supermodel, so I guess that makes sense. Um, Witchblade, she was on the cover. You can see there. She Witchblade is like a sentient gauntlet who is like helps the wearer like fight the forces of evil, like gives them limited powers to do so. Um, yeah, this kind of reminds me of the body armor that's given to female characters in video games. Like it's basically like a chainmail bikini or like a metal bikini, and the guys have like really cool full armor. It looks really cool, and you're given a lot of times. I mean, they've gotten better about it now, but it used to be like that's what you got. That's what it reminds me of. And of course, Storm. I mean, she's very exotic looking, so I mean that makes sense. And she's really cool, and she has this really like um, goddess like personality because I mean she was called and worshipped as a goddess in Africa before Professor Xavier found her. So she's very like elegant and graceful and holds herself like very well. And then She-Hulk, Bruce Banner's cousin. Um, blood transfusion turned her into She-Hulk. She still retains her Jennifer Walters like attorney smarts and everything. So I think that's the combination of beauty, brains, brawn, just all rolled into one might be why they like picked her. And then there's Tigra. She's one of the race of cat people. She's been in like the Avengers, Fantastic Four issues before. I mean, she has like agility, things like that. And they say the reason why she wears basically a bikini for her costume is that if she wore like a full costume or full like leotard or whatever, she'd get too hot. I'm like, okay, sure. This character, Dawn, I didn't really know anything about. Apparently, she's the goddess of birth and rebirth, and she's the goddess of witches. And the reason she has those 3 like tears running down the left side of her cheek is because witches apparently can only cry on the left side of their face, out of their left eye. I don't know. That's just what it says. Vampirella, apparently she's been around since 1969, which is fitting. She's like more of a horror comic character, not really a superhero, so to speak. But it does say top 10 sexiest comic women. So, I mean, she still counts because she's has her own comic. Anyway, I actually was curious and because I didn't remember her very well, so I watched the movie from the 90s. Oh, it was bad. Oh, man. I mean, I almost like any superhero movie. Like Spawn, I liked that one. The 90s Captain America movie, I liked that one when not a lot of people did. And Green Lantern, please don't hate me, but I liked Green Lantern. I think it was just because it's superheroes. I love superheroes. No, I lie. The newest Fantastic Four movie that they tried to reboot, that was terrible. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me, but it wasn't good. And then of course, last, Catwoman, makes sense. I mean, she's been around for a long time, and when a lot of people think Catwoman, like in films, of course, Michelle Pfeiffer was the first to play her, and that iconic costume. I mean, once you see that, who can forget that? I mean, and like even though like Halle Berry, her costume was really sexy, it just, I mean, again, I liked that movie because it was a superhero movie, but her costume was very, just over the top. It was too much. And then they have next article, The Great American Superhero. These 4 characters, Superman, Batman, Wolverine, Spider-Man, are up for the title. They based on origin, which Batman won, obviously. For anyone who knows Batman's origin, he is the best one. Costume, Superman, just, I mean, like, he didn't score very well. I think it's because his costume's very plain. I mean, it's very iconic, but it's plain. Spider-Man, he won because his costume's like very eye-catching, like it like grabs you. Motivation, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben. Anyone, Spider-Man knows that. I mean, what a motivation, like to know he could have stopped it, but he chose not to. That's even more motivation than Batman and his, parents. Because, I mean, Batman was just a kid. I mean, that definitely was his origin. And basically, so kind of was Spider-Man's, the death of Uncle Ben, his origin also to his transition to become a superhero. But yeah, he definitely wins. Abilities and accessories. Who do you think wins that? Yeah, Superman, of course. Personality, attitude, Spider-Man, because I mean he's witty, he's funny, like he has a great personality. Batman's pretty grim. Superman's pretty like like stoic, not in a Batman way, but just like kind of distant. Like he's, he's a god. He kind of distances himself from others, not on purpose, but just due to the fact of who he is. Wolverine, he's just like, he's a loner. I mean, what can you say about Wolverine? And of course, the winner, Spider-Man. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me that, yeah, Spider-Man's their favorite character, which makes sense because he's really, like, he's super relatable. So I get that. In this issue, they cast the Deadpool movie. Henry Rollins was cast as Deadpool. I honestly don't know who that is. It says a rock crooner. If anyone wants to, like, in the comments below, tell me who that is, I would appreciate it. And don't hate me for the fact that I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. But, I mean, Ryan Reynolds, you can't, I mean, how can you do better than Ryan Reynolds? Of course, like, that's his, like, character that he's played for years. Like, this very super sarcastic, like, just very super sarcastic character. I mean, he's made his living off of that, basically. So how can you get better than that? Yeah. Nicolas Cage was almost Superman. It was going to happen. Like, it was going to be directed by Tim Burton. Chris Rock was rumored to be Jimmy Olsen. Cameron Diaz was going to be Lois Lane, which I can't see either. I can't see any of those characters or those people playing those characters. I mean, they just seem off to me. But well, you know how Tim Burton, he's a little kooky. So it makes sense that like they didn't see, Warner Brothers didn't understand his vision and where this kind of was going. So I mean, it makes sense to me. I guess. I'm sorry. And they have a top 10 heroes and villains, like, of the month. Witchblade, we talked about her. The Darkness, it's a Witchblade character. Apparently, it's like the Darkness is like evil incarnate, and when a guy turns 21, there's like a bloodline that he when he turns 21, he inherits that, like, power, so to speak. Wolverine, Spawn, he was popular back then. Batman, of course. Deadpool, still popular. Captain America, Iron Man, yeah. Avengers, still popular. Preacher, I tried to watch the AMC series and I couldn't do it. It's very gritty. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at that. Superman, he's always going to be popular because he's so iconic. Another reason I liked Wizard, because they have this price guide in the back. And so you could look up, what your favorite comic book was or what comic books you had, and like, hey, this is worth this much. Of course, that list is for, like, near mint, but it's still fun to look at. And they also have, like, things in there like famous first, and they'll give you, like, the comic book that, like, Mystique first appeared in, or the comic book that this writer started his series on. And they also have, like, little things that say, like, good reading, like, hey, this is something you should check out because it's a really good storyline. It's a really good read. So I always thought those were interesting too. I really enjoyed that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.